What's up, guys? Welcome to Greaserookie Garage. It's been an awesome week in the garage. Here's a look at some of my progress. This quarter panel is fitting pretty well, so I'm really happy with that. And well, there was one little oopsie that happened. Be careful with your quarter panels whenever you're working with them, because in my haste I set this thing down and spun around and BAM! Turned around and saw this little dent, and my eyes rolled into the back of my head, and I had a brief discussion with Jesus, and it's 2020, so this is not the worst thing that's happened. So I wouldn't be surprised if by 2021 I'm using the Iron 6 to drive around and fight zombies. So it's just a dent. Okay, so great news. I have the quarter panel fitting incredibly well. So I'm going to get you caught up as to how I got to this point, and then I will give you an overview of this. So let's jump into it. All right, we're going to kick things off by removing the rest of this quarter panel so we can fit this beautiful thing on the car. My plan is remove the quarter panel in its entirety in this area. I'm going to cut along this line here, come down along here, and get the rest of this off right here. And then once we do that, we should be able to play around with fitment on this thing, at least initial fitment. Man, I'm telling you, you want to feel like a man, just start cutting a car apart, because that will fill your man meter up over the top. So just don't let your wife see you doing it, because she will suck that thing dry right back down to the bottom. I'm kidding. Love you, hon. Alright, that looks good. Now we can zip this off. I am going to use a cutoff wheel on this because if you remember, there's 2 layers of quarter panel here, and the cutoff air saw is just, it kind of struggles going through this. Look at this. This is the original quarter panel going up underneath the sail panel. Here, this is what's left of the 66. The quarter panel off of the 66 Mustang that was patched onto my 65. So this is what's left of that patch panel, that patch quarter panel. And you can see that it was just laid on top. This is the original quarter panel here. It was laid on top here, and they came along and they tack welded it down, and then they just bondoed it all up. So that's how that repair was done. I also can get in here now and have a better look at this damage, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to remove this. This brace here, I'm fairly certain is where it should lie. When this was impacted on the side, this whole piece was bent over. This broke loose. If you look up in here, this is the inside of the car, and I believe that this should actually be running over, but this brace was pushed over and is actually pushing on this right in here. So I am going to take a minute to hammer on this just a little bit more to see if I can't push this out some. Alright, so occasionally I will come out into the garage and just work a night without the camera to try to just catch up and make good progress at some point in the video for you guys. And that's what I was doing tonight, but I ran into something with the fitment of the panels that I wanted to point out. And this is something that was giving me some issues a while back as well, and I couldn't tell because of the frame rail if the frame rail had anything to do with it or not. But now that we got that fixed, I know what's going on here. And another reason why I know what's going on here is because I saw it on Joe Daddy's garage. He had this same issue, this same panel fitment issue. And that is, for some reason, he had a full pan assembly on his. Now this is a trunk kit, so they're different parts, but the fitment issue seems to be the same. And that is that in order to get these to fit together, I'm gonna have to trim out this section. And I've looked at several different factors, and that just seems to be what is going on here. Is this shape is a little off, and it's not allowing this wheelhouse to slide in. Alright, so I went ahead and cut out the problem area that I just discussed, and I have the wheelhouse fitting pretty good along with the trunk floor pan and quarter panel drop off. It did take some hammering and beating around on this brace that comes down from the inside of the sail panel down to the wheelhouse. I don't know what this area is going to end up looking like, but I needed to at least get the wheelhouse fitting what seems to be correctly, and it's pretty darn close. And I even used the laser level to mount it inside the trunk to see how that wheelhouse lines in comparison to this wheelhouse, and everything is very close. The only real problem that I see at this point is right here. This wheelhouse is coming back and covering up this hole, and this should be forward, I believe, but I'm not even going to make a call on that or even begin to worry about it until I see how the quarter panel fits over this wheelhouse. Currently fighting a war with this quarter panel. Well, not even the quarter panel, because I recently just measured this quarter panel with the original quarter panel that's on the passenger side, and all the measurements line up. And I took measurements of the location of the B-pillar on the passenger side and the location of the B-pillar on the driver's side. And this B-pillar on the driver's side seems to be sitting 3/8 of an inch back than where it should be. And I thought this quarter panel was 3/8 of an inch too long. So I'm questioning everything right now. Yeah. Now, it's quite possible that this B-pillar is in the wrong location because this B-pillar was replaced. This is part of the 66. You can look at the weld job down here. It's a hack job. And in fact, that might be the original B-pillar as I look at this right there, and you can see this is sitting back. And you might say, well, if everything is lining up, then why is it matching your wheelhouse location? Well, keep in mind, this was all damaged in the accident, so the wheelhouse location may not be sitting quite where it should be. So I think for right now, I almost need to take this out of the equation and start fitting the quarter panel. But little tiny things like this, I was trying to get the quarter panel shifted up past the B-pillar to make up for the difference in the back, 3/8, and I couldn't get it to go, and I just realized there's a big hunk of braze right here, right there. And little things like that will definitely, I've found, keep your panels from shifting where you want them to go. So this panel fitment stuff, it's addictive. It's really fun because you get frustrated, you walk out, but an hour later you're ready to come back for round 2 and go at it. So I'm having fun, but I feel like, you know, I'm not making a lot of progress. Well, there's something encouraging. The deck lid is running far more parallel than it has ever run on the car. And the gapping on the quarter panel looks pretty decent. It gets wide down here, but this part of the quarter panel still has to shift inward. And what I'm really pleased with, the more I look at this, is when you take the quarter panel extension, hold it up to the new quarter panel. Check that out. That is nice. So this is the quarter panel from CJ Pony Parts, and I haven't filmed much this week. I'm in and out of here, and there's just nothing to film because it's just constantly picking the quarter panel up, putting it on the car, and making observations, and not even really cutting anything. Just trying to figure out how to get it to fit properly. And I'm starting to think, I don't think that this quarter panel is too long. In fact, I remeasured everything, and the dimensions on this quarter panel match the dimensions on the original quarter panel exactly. So I think it's just a matter of working things around. Like tiny things, like this little section right here. You can see that. It's really hard to see, but this lip sticks outward, and it's not allowing this to come up. I need to trim some more of this off, because as I try to pull this up to get it, I mean, it only needs to come up about 1/4 of an inch, but you have this pressing because it wants to go down flush with this metal. And you know, this is the best I've had it fitting. It needs to come up just a tiny bit. When this rotates inward, this will match up a little better. And you know, this tail panel obviously has to be on the outside of this. But this tail panel actually needs to come out some. So I need to do some more working, but not a lot of really exciting stuff going on at any given time, but overall, you know, it's good to see it on there. So I'm thinking I can make this work. I do think there will be some trimming involved, but this is the best I've had it fitting. And I mean, this quarter panel still has to come over some, but there's some braze I have to get rid of out of the way in order for that to shift over. But overall, everything is pretty much fitting where it should be. This gap will close up as I shift this over. But little things like this, gotta get this taken care of. But we're getting close. Again, though, the issue up here is, this is sticking out about 3/8 of an inch. But I'm fairly certain when this new B-pillar or replacement B-pillar was installed, it's about at least angled back. When I take some measurements, it seems to be about 3/8 of an inch sitting back. So I don't know if that's the problem, if that is truly a problem, what the best way to handle it is, because moving the door forward is probably not going to be an option, because it'll probably run into the fender, I would think. I don't know. And I have the door sitting right about where I want it to be. So there's definitely work involved still. It's definitely going to be a lot of hours to get this figured out. But I'm getting close. That's probably it for tonight. It's looking all right. Okay, so all of that work brought me up to here, which I've done a little bit more since that last clip that you saw. So I'll show you how everything's fitting, and we'll get this video up because it's Sunday and I need to get this thing up today. So let's take a look. All right, so the tail panel is now in the correct location. The quarter panel is lifted up and in line with where it should be. I have this stuff all clamped together. The trunk lid, deck lid, is actually mounted a little bit over this way, so I need to bring that back, which will close up this gap. So I still need to make some adjustments there. But everything is at least in the proper place. Here's the alignment of the quarter. I still need to trim some of this out, but this is all fitting really well. And this lower section here, which I had some problems with, let me bring in some light. This lower section now is actually fitting pretty well, and I still need to work this just a little bit to get this in, but overall that's fitting really well. As far as where the quarter panel is sitting right now, I think I can work with this. This is kind of hard to see, but this is not that far off. I don't think I'm going to try cutting this to shorten it. I think I would rather dolly this in. This is my first project car, and it's not going to be perfect. And I'm not going to lose sleep over this, so we'll see. But I'm leaning towards not really making any fab modifications to this quarter panel. I need to get my fender alignment figured out for sure, and redo my door alignment. I've decided I am going to rebuild both these hinges. I should have everything I need to do that fairly soon, early in the week, and I think I'm going to take care of that. And once I do that, then we can make a final call on this. But yeah, overall, guys, this thing's looking awesome. And that is where I am at for the week. You guys are completely up to date, and obviously things are going well. So it's Thanksgiving this coming week, so I hope you guys all have a very good Thanksgiving. I hope you fill your bellies with happiness and have a great time. I'm incredibly thankful for you guys. I don't say that enough. You guys are awesome. You give me so much motivation, and yeah, the more I get into this, just as I work through the week, I just get really excited to update you guys on this stuff, just because, I'm in the thick of it, guys. This is the stuff that I wanted to be doing when I bought this car. I'm having a blast. So yeah, it's been awesome. So guys, all that being said, until the next episode, stay driven.